Hello and welcome to the Kent Current Lunchtime Bulletin. I'm Sam Baker. Not on our watch, West Kent CCG enters engagement process against proposed cuts to IVF treatments. Brit abroad, British PhD student is convicted of spying offences in the UAE. End of an era, boxing legend Tony Bellew finally hangs up the gloves. First tonight, couples in West Kent could soon see cuts made to the IVF services funded by the NHS. At the moment, West Kent CCG is going through the engagement process to get residents' views to consider whether proposals should go ahead. Karina Pavlova has the story.
West Kent Clinical Commissioning Group is considering making changes to their fertility treatment spending by reducing the number of IVF cycles. This means that couples in West Kent could potentially be entitled for only one round of IVF treatment available on the NHS if the proposals will go ahead.
So we need to listen to what people are saying, and we will take those views into account if and when we make a proposal that might have a bearing on IVF. This is very much a first stage in a listening exercise to find out what people think of that.
Currently, 60% of CCGs have reduced the number of IVF cycles, including those in Kent, offering either only one cycle or none at all. Regulatory body NICE advised that women should receive 3 cycles of IVF treatment if they're under 40 and 1 cycle between 40 and 42 years old.
Well, something like 1 in 50 couples are having IVF, and infertility is a real problem. Something like 1 in 6 couples trying to have a family are afflicted with infertility, so it's a widespread issue. An awful lot of couples are going to be very, very disappointed, and of course those that can afford to pay will go privately, whereas those who can't afford to pay will end up being somewhat disappointed. So it's really quite concerning.
Although the potential proposals are at the very early stages, Kent residents are quite worried about the possible cuts. Lindsay Burke had her son Elliot on a 2nd cycle of IVF treatment through Midway CCG and says she would not have been able to have a child without the NHS support.
I think if I'd had only 1 cycle, Elliot wouldn't be here, and I don't know where I would be mentally. I don't know where my marriage would be. There's no way that we could afford to privately fund our IVF. We would have had to have taken out loans, and you literally you're walking up to a gambling table. You don't know that it's going to work.
West Kent CCG has also launched an online survey and will be holding a public event in Sevenoaks on 29th of November for residents to have their say on the future of IVF in West Kent. This is Karina Pavlova for Kent Current.
British PhD student Matthew Hedges has been convicted of spying in the UAE. The 31-year-old denies all allegations, but prosecutors claim he confessed. His wife, Daniela Tejada, has voiced concerns regarding her husband's health as she is unsure whether or not he has had access to his prescription medication. This morning, the UAE's UK Ambassador Suleiman Hamid Al Mazri said that an amicable solution was still possible.
This was an extremely serious case. We live in a dangerous neighborhood and national security must be a top priority. This was also an unusual case. Many researchers visit the UAE freely every year without breaking our laws. Under UAE law, everyone has the right to appeal after conviction.
In sport, former cruiserweight world champion Tony Bellew has announced his retirement from boxing. The 35-year-old was stopped in the 8th round of his bout against Alexander Usyk 12 days ago, which Bellew has now confirmed was his last fight. A reminder, you can find all of our stories on our website centreforjournalismprojects.co.uk/KentCurrent. You'll find all of our latest reports covering stories around the globe right here from Medway. Remember to tune in later on to our full show at 4 this afternoon. We'll look at the top stories across the country, including how the oldest church in Kent has secured a record number of visitors. You don't want to miss it.
Most days when we're open, we have someone who visits us. Some days we've had a lot. We've had up to 400. But it doesn't interfere with the life of the church, and it's never too many. So it's always lovely to welcome visitors.